So you guys, it is Dawn Nicole here, and I'm really excited because in just a moment, I have our member, Sharese Leggette, coming here, and we're going to talk about ProcuraFind getting its own commercial property. Now, you guys have heard me talk about this before, right? Our goal is to be a leader, a global leader in building world-class suppliers. And well, we can't build world-class suppliers if we don't have a space, right? And even though we can teach online, and we're doing that today with our cohort model, I need the option. I need to be able to offer corporations an option. You can either come into our facility, which today is one big giant room, and we love it. We're grateful for what we have, but we're growing, we're scaling. And so Sharese is gonna come shortly and give me some options. So stay tuned, she'll be here any moment. Take care, bye. Dawn Nicole signing off. Come on in, Sharese, how are you doing? It's so good to see you.
It is so good to see you.
Yes, so we're gonna talk everything commercial property today. That's leasing, that's buying, that's all the things that we need to know to be successful, because I have a vision for us to be a world-class leader in building world-class suppliers, and you're gonna help me with the plan, right?
Yeah, we're going to make sure we're going to get these trainees in these classes. It's going to work out ultimately well.
Awesome. And in just a second, we'll give you some behind-the-scenes footage of how our conversation goes. Thank you. So Sharese, I'm really, really excited, and I'm trying to determine for ProcuraFind if the building that we need to get into next needs to be a renting situation, meaning a business lease, or a ownership situation. And I'm not sure about the difference. First of all, can I get funding either way? Can you tell me about the differences and the pros and cons of leasing versus owning? I'm very curious.
Of course. So you can get funding for both leasing and purchasing. So there are banks that will provide that, especially being a small business. SBA would be the right way to go, simply because you typically pay less of a down payment than you would for conventional loans.
Yeah.
So with that being said, SBA can range around 10 to 30% for a loan, as far as conventional could be upwards above that 30%. Now, the difference with that is with SBA, you must occupy more than 50% of that space in order to use that, to use that SBA funding.
So I'd be looking at like a standalone place and not like, when you say occupy that space, that means I can't sublet. Is that what?
Correct. Or if you do sublet, it has to be 49%. Because majority of that funding, this bank needs to know that you are able to fund this yourself. So that's very important. And leasing, the pros and cons between leasing and purchasing, it just depends on how long you're planning to be there. Are you looking to upsize soon? How much funding do you have?
Now, do you recommend, especially since like ProcuraFind, as you know, we're in this location right now, which we don't love completely, but we're here, right? You had to crawl before you walk. Do you recommend for someone in our situation though, Sharese, that we fill it out the first year, that maybe we lease, right, year one and maybe year two, or just at least year one, and then we make more of a permanent move? What do you think?
I do suggest that. I will say it's not a horrible idea.
Yeah.
However, I will also make sure that we're paying attention to the leasing, right? So if we're doing an office, we could probably do a year, right? But if we're doing standalone, typically most landlords want to do over 2 to 3 years, just to get their money worth, right? Because you're going to be building out this property to what you want, and things like that. So what we need to understand is essentially, what are we doing 5 years from now?
Okay. One of the things you talked about is about the credit, and I want to talk a little bit about credit, because I'll tell you, my credit is pretty good residentially, right? And I know it's different in the business world, like what good credit is for your home refinance. One of the things you asked me was about business credit, right? And while I know that my consumer credit is relatively good, you talked about how Dun & Bradstreet has our business credit score, even if we haven't gotten a business, loan. So talk to me a little bit more about what score Dun & Bradstreet might have for me, even though I haven't activated that business credit. Yeah.
Right. So you have to first activate your business credit. Okay. So you must have business credit, and you will go to Dun & Bradstreet to get that. Now, I will say this as a disclaimer.
Yeah.
I am not financed.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I am a broker.
Yeah.
However, if you are looking to obtain your Dun & Bradstreet score or your business credit score, that is where you would look.
And the good news is we do have a DMB account. So I do have the account. I do have the Dun & Bradstreet number. So far so good. As soon as we're done here, I'm literally going to log in and activate the business credit, because I haven't had to do it yet, because we haven't hit 2 years and I've been just growing this organically. But now that ProcuraFind is ready for commercial property, to be a leader in building world-class suppliers, that's something I need to do. So we go to Dun & Bradstreet, we activate that business credit, kind of follow the prompts.
You follow the prompts.
Okay.
And then you'll get a call. They'll do some verifying and things like that. But that will ensure that you don't have to use your personal credit when trying to obtain these commercial.
That's so good.
Commercial loans.
That's so. And by the way, before we close, it's just so good. That's why I wanted to get the behind the scenes. I was like, I need to get some of this footage. So even when I go out, even when we do the lease situation for the new property, for the building that I'm going to get, you're telling me that in addition to my consumer credit, they're going to want to see business credit.
They're going to want to see business credit. And if you don't have business credit, we're definitely going to I will ensure that we're sending all of your CPA documents, because this landlord needs to ensure that they know how much money you're making annually, right? Monthly. They need to make sure that you are able to pay for your lease. So that is important. Financials are very important. However, I will say, just because you don't have business credit does not mean you cannot does not mean you cannot lease or purchase your commercial property.
That's so good. You guys heard that. Look, I gotta think. Did y'all hear that? Your girl is on to something. Okay. So before we close out, this is also why, Sharese, I'm so glad I'm having this conversation with you 4 to 5 months out before I make a move, because I'm looking to make this move more so around January, if I'm being honest. As I shared, I'm content here for now, right? Because I'm a planner and then a massive executor. You know this about me. And so I kind of feel like this 5-month stretch is good, because it allows you and I to work together behind the scenes strategically, for us to get the financing in order, the business plan for how we want to. And that's the other thing. Just because you have a business plan for your business as you had it today, when you start to talk of building, you need a different business plan. You need to show how that thing is going to make money and pay for itself and be able to afford your monthly expense for that.
Correct. This is true. And it is very important to know that, like, when leasing a commercial property or purchasing a commercial property, 5 months is amazing. Even a year is amazing. As soon as you know your lease is going to be up within that year, let's start looking, because it takes time. You have to do your build out. We have to do negotiating between brokers. There's a lot that goes into that. Your finances, all of that is very important prior to actually finding your building.
And so then, in other words, go me for doing it so early. Awesome. Thank you so much, Sharese. Where can people find you if they want more information about you and the name of your company?
So the Techie Broker is on Instagram. My LinkedIn is, of course, Sharese Leggette. And my number, the best way to contact me would be 843-372-5141. I am not a social media girl. I am definitely getting better.
We know. You are a ProcuraFind member.
I am a ProcuraFind member, so you can definitely find me there. But my suggestion would be to definitely call me or text me again.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sharese.